All right, guys, welcome to this video. In this video, actually, I'm joined doing an interview here with our good friend and trader, Zak Mir. Zak has been a good friend of mine for several years, as some of you may recognize him. So in this video, we're going to talk with Zak about Bitcoin and also about his forecasts and predictions for Bitcoin for this year in 2022. And I'm going to ask him if Zak believes that Bitcoin is still on track for 100K. Join us. All right, guys, welcome back. So, Zak, by the way, before we start talking about Bitcoin, how are you doing? I noticed that you've gone into the spiritual realm, it seems. You've gone to heaven, kind of white, bright lights behind you there. What's going on?
It was obviously some sort of freaky trick of the office that I'm here in, but it just seems to be the case that I have joined the angels. I'm sure, obviously, one day I will, but this is maybe a taster of that. I hope I look in better. Whenever I look at you, I always think that's actually what I would like to look like, you know, with hair and 10 years younger.
So, Zak, I guess my first question to you is, what's your view on Bitcoin for 2022?
Well, I was hoping that Bitcoin would be 100K during 2021, but I love the disruptive nature of the cryptocurrencies, and so 100,000, 500,000, a million, I'd be delighted, because I know that would make the financial establishment squirm, and it's always good to see those people squirm. But the crypto world started because of the over-regulation, the money printing, and all the other diseases that central banks, and just basically the arrogance of central banks as well. The main problem here with the crypto market is, well, it's not a problem, but the fact that it is a true market, a real market, a raw market, and therefore the types of moves you see in crypto are always going to be much wilder than they are in the fiat world, whether it's the stock market or anywhere else. So that's something to remember. It's going to be more wild, more volatile even than the futures market. The irony is that over the last 2 months, the people who said that Bitcoin's finished, it's all over, it's in a bear market, they're right, and the people who are saying Bitcoin's fantastic, this is a buying opportunity, well, they're right too.
Could you explain that point, Zak? What do you mean? What do you mean they're right? They're in a bear market, and we're right in a bull market. What do you mean by that?
The bulls are right because Bitcoin's currently at a proper support level, 40,000. That held in September according to charting rules. That's perfectly fine. It's a neckline support on let's say head and shoulders formation that we've had since August. So you've got the head and shoulders there. If we break back up over the right shoulder at 52,000, you'll say, well, that was a wonderful consolidation, and I told you should buy at 40,000. And if we don't, they'll say it's a head and shoulders, and it's going to go back down to 30,000 or lower, and that's the setup we have. So we're really at a crossroads. But I think the point that I'm saying about the bears being right is that we're down from 68,000, and 20% down from the top on any market is the definition of a bear market. So what's that? 13,000 off there. So below 55,000, let's say, we're in a bear market on Bitcoin. But I don't think the normal labels are really appropriate. I think here you would just, if this was the S&P and it had gone down from 68,000 to 40,000, I mean, people would be literally crying in the street. They would have jumped out the window. It would be a crash. But this is the normal thing for Bitcoin, because it trades where it will, and it could go down to 10,000 and then rally up to 100,000 in 2 months. It's that much of a loose cannon in terms of the market. So if you're happy with that, then this is the market for you. But it could go down to 10,000 and still be a long-term buy, having cleared everybody out.
I do take your point. You make an interesting point that Bitcoin is down 20% at least from its highs. I personally don't adhere to that particular interpretation of a bear market. So I don't actually like that interpretation of a bear market, like 20% or whatever. I prefer to look at structural points of support, market structure being broken before I can say it's a bear market. But that's just my own particular way of looking at the chart. But you make a good point. I do understand your point that you could interpret it in that way. So what do you think Bitcoin has to do to increase the probability that we're going to go to 100,000?
We broke not only the November low but also the September low briefly, or just very, very briefly, and we've rallied 10% off that. That sort of double bear trap that we've had there, I think, is a very positive sign for Bitcoin. And also, I like the way that that was played out against people saying, "Oh, it's over, crypto's over." And they love saying that. Whenever they say that, that's the buy point, just the psychological capitulation point. So I heard that and I thought, oh right, okay, that's that. And it's quite right that they capitulate, given that they've seen it go down from 68 to 39. I mean, that's a pretty hefty turnaround, but that's normal for the crypto markets. I mean, that's they double back on themselves.
I mean, I've said in the past, in a recent video, I said that if Bitcoin can break above the weekly 21 EMA, what I want to ask you is, which key level would give you confirmation or indeed increasing probability that we're heading towards 100K?
The pattern that we have on the daily chart since August is a double-headed head and shoulders. The obvious level, which is not too far away, although it's still a distance away, is the right-hand shoulder of the head and shoulder pattern that we've had since July, August. So that's at 52,000. So that's a sort of the normal vanilla, the vanilla thing. It was a double top in November, December, right, around that area.
Is it your view that the dip below 40K, which we experienced just recently, is it your view that was a bear trap?
Yeah, that was a bear trap. But the only problem is, let's say there's another bit of news and we just break, 40,000. There's nothing to support this market, I think, until 30. So it'd be a blink and you missed it. And then, but the beauty of 30 is that, then you'd have that almost like you'd assume there'd be an instant rebound. If we are, overall going up, there'd be a decent rebound. But I'm just saying that 52,000 simple. That's the right shoulder of the formation on the daily chart. That's the one to go for.
So your view is, and I think I agree with you on this, you're saying that if Bitcoin, it's an if, but if it were to break below that support, which is the January lows and the September lows, just near 40K, really there's nothing to stop Bitcoin from dropping all the way down to 30K. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. There's just it would just be a very but it would happen overnight. I mean, almost literally overnight. I think we saw overnight in the rally in July. No, in July we saw the rebound from 28 to 40,000. It probably took less than, it took like a week to move in. It was that quick, and that's like what I call the ice skating zone, that you just hit one end of the ice ring and then you just immediately zigzag to the other end of the ice ring, or like a pinball. You're like a pinball, basically. Just like that kind of move. So I would expect pinball price action between 30 and 40. But I think if pushed, I would be surprised if we now broke 40, because we've had two bear traps in this zone, and also the retracement from 68,000. I mean, that's a big one. I mean, that's enough to. That's enough. Psychologically, that's been enough to demoralize the bulls. So when that happens,
So your view is that as long as we remain above that support of 40K, and if we break above 52,000, you're saying there's a very strong probability we could head towards 100K. Zach, what exact period? I mean, I know there can be no definitive answer to this. It's obviously we cannot be certain about the timing. Timing is a very tricky issue. But if Bitcoin is going to go to 100K, what period this year, I mean, what month, or shall we say, would it be the second half, the first half, third quarter, second quarter? When are you looking at, let's say, 100K on Bitcoin? Would it be, let's say, at the end of this year, like October? What is your timeline, do you think?
Well, I think the timeline here, I think for it to hit 100K, you would probably have to see this market near or through 52,000 by the end of this month.
Oh, really?
Right. So if you're thinking of you'd have to see that, because just in terms of the months of the year, if you're looking at a monthly chart, you'd want to see the opening month break the previous month's high. That's a normal trading rule. Whether you're an intraday trader, the first hour you break, or the first half hour, you're trading half-hour bars. First half an hour you break opening range, the opening range of the market, the opening half hour in the, by 9 o'clock, or if it's, so if it started at 8 o'clock, by 9 o'clock, you've broken the opening thing. So in order for 100,000 to be hit, you'd really ideally want 52,000 to be broken by the end of within January. Right? Yeah. Maybe at a stretch by the end of February, but I think if it hasn't happened by the end of if thinking of those monthly bars,
yeah,
if it hasn't happened by the end of February, I think that would be more difficult, because obviously this is a big ask, right? So it's a big ask, but a good way of seeing whether it's possible would be, January, end of January, it's sort of 51, 52, 53. We've had a good month. We made a lower low versus December, which we've done.
Yeah.
And then we close near the high or above the high of December. So that would be like a cork in water rebound. That we've had a bear trap below that bar. That's a standard technical analysis stuff.
Yes. And your timeline for, let's say, 100K, end of this year or second quarter, third quarter, when do you think?
I think that if that could be done, then you would hope that, let's say, before you'd make it by the end of the third quarter or something like that.
That makes sense. So presumably by the end of September, you're saying?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, I think if you look at what Bitcoin can do, and I'm looking at the chart now, you had this market at 29,000 or 28,000, 29,000 at the beginning of July. It went from there to the peak at 68,000 by the beginning of November.
Yeah.
So what's that? Sort of more than doubling in 3-4 months, something like that. So when you have the momentum there, it can, you can go from 52,000 to 104,000. Let's say, I mean, that would be even Q3 would be, that's, so that's quite a long, it's giving it quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I think obviously if it managed to get it by the end of H1, I mean, you just think, wow, this is phenomenal. But I think the best thing with this commentary here is probably just to focus minds on, can we get to 52,000? Can we break December's resistance by the end of January? Which would be, that would be great, and maybe give it up to February. But after that, you probably just say we'll need some sort of trigger.
Thanks very much, Zak. By the way, guys, make sure you check out Zak's Twitter handle and Twitter feed, which is on @Zak's Traders Cafe. Please go ahead and follow him on Twitter. It would really mean a lot to me. I really appreciate it. I also follow Zak as well. And also, guys, you can check out Zak's regular weekly updates on major cryptos, for example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also Ripple, XRP, Cardano, Dogecoin, and also Luna. He covers as well in the weekly members videos. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you very much, Zak, for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.